Hi everyone. What I'm going to do today is put some of this netting over my vegetable area because we have got a lot of birds in the garden, which obviously we want. It's lovely to hear them, but they are digging up a lot of my plants. I mean, they see an empty pot and they just dig around in it, and you know, it's what birds do. I mean, it's obviously what we need. But I'm going to cover my vegetable area with the netting. It's very fine, but it should stop any insects from getting through and also stop the birds from digging the pots out. So let's go over to the vegetable area and see what we can do with that. Now this is the area with the vegetables, which is only a small space, but I've been covering some of the pots with fleece because the birds have been digging out everything in the pot. Now this is the carrots. Now covering with fleece is not the ideal thing because obviously it's squashing them down as they're trying to grow, but you can see where the birds have dug out this section here. So what I want to do now is just cover this whole area with the netting. The first thing I'm going to do is move all the pots out because these are the canes I'm using to support the netting, which I'm going to put into the pots like that, but the peas are taller, so I'm going to put those towards the fence and then the other ones in front. Right, I've got the peas in position, so they're going to be towards the back. So I'm going to put the netting over there first before I put the other pots in front, otherwise I'm not going to be able to reach. Right, I've got some bottles which I've just cut down just to put over the tops of the canes there. It's just to stop it damaging through the netting. And then what I'm going to do is just put a piece of wood, which I've got here. I'm just going to lay that across the back just to hold that down, because the last thing I want to do is get any birds creeping underneath and getting them trapped underneath the netting. I've put the 2 pots of kale in front, and over these canes I've just put some upturned bottles. That's just to stop it snagging. So I'll just put the other 2 pots in. I've got plenty of netting here. I've draped it all over the fuchsia just so I can see where I'm going with this. But I can cut that down at some point when I've got enough length. Now this might not be perfect, but I think it's a solution. And everything's covered over. But before I anchor it down at the front, in one of my previous comments, somebody suggested that I grow some chard. So I've got a packet here. This fish chard bright lights. Looks very pretty. And it says for the vegetable and flower border. Now that's an interesting thought, isn't it? So I'm going to put some of those in a pot, put them under the netting here, and then secure it down. Right, for now, that will do. Certainly be protected from the birds, the insects. I've got the pot of chard there. So, yeah, that's got that done. Now the runner beans are doing really well. This one is way above its stick here. So what I'm going to do is just tie it to the cane at the top here. Just to give it a little bit more support. And then I'm just going to take this extra piece here down to that top leaf there. And then it should concentrate all its effort into growing down this way. These others are nearly there, so I should do the same when they come to that point. So that's the bean at the top of its cane. And if you go down, you can see It's doing really well. It's twined itself around, and also a lot of flowers coming. I was a bit worried about planting them in pots, but they seem to be doing really well. And this one here has actually got a little bit of colour coming on that bud. So as I say, once these others catch up, I should do exactly the same. Now they're 5-foot canes, so by the time the cane is in the pot, they're about 4 foot tall, the plant, which is ideal, because then we just concentrate all the bean growing activity into a 4-foot plant. But you can see they're bushing out nicely at the bottom already. Now I'm going to be using some rhubarb. You can see how this is getting on. If you look through that leaf, you can see these stalks, really solid, coming through lovely. Some of the strawberries here are ready for picking. That's a nice one there. Got a lot more coming. So that's doing really well. All the tomato plants seem to be doing really well. They're growing really tall already. So when they get to the top of their canes, they can be trimmed back as well, same as the beans. Now, all of these have got flowers on, apart from one of the baby plum tomatoes. But all the others are doing well. And also the French marigolds, they brighten the place up a bit. And then in the bottom of there, I've got my fuchsias, because I'm in that room in the other greenhouse. So I've just put them over here for now. Now in the bottom of this greenhouse, the cucumbers are doing really well, apart from that one which got eaten by probably a slug or something. So I have put some pellets around. I did that last night. I don't normally use slug pellets in the garden, because we do have hedgehogs and all the birds and everything, but in the greenhouse that should be fine. And the peppers, they're looking okay. Now something else I want to do today is empty this pot of spring bulbs. As you can see, all the foliage is going over now, so I'm just going to gently tip them out. Now this had the bulb lasagna in, so there's 4 different kinds of bulbs in here. But what I want to do is just gently take them out. Some of them are still slightly green, but that's okay. Now what I've got here is just a cardboard box, because you don't want to store them in anything plastic, because they're going to sweat and rot. So a cardboard box is ideal, or some netting or anything that's just going to absorb any moisture, but it's not going to rot the bulbs. So I've just got a box there with some newspaper in the bottom. So I'm just going to pull these out. There's some little ones there, that's the crocuses. Anything old like this that's died off, you can just break down, just leave a little bit there on the top. That would just wither away and that'll be fine. So everything can just go in the box. All these crocuses are multiplying really well actually, so that'll make a nice display next year. It's a larger one, so that looks like a hyacinth because that's white. We had white and red. Oh, the roots are holding these in well. That's another hyacinth one. Now this looks like a daffodil, and that has got another one on the side. all these pieces that are wilted off can just be pulled off now. So just go through, put them in the box, and then the box can be just stored in the shed. It's got a lot of root on, so I'm just going to break that just down a little bit, so it's still got some root to dye back, but it'll fit in the box there. Now some of these, where they've died down, but they haven't completely, they're not completely pulling away, I'm just going to cut that short, and then that will die down in the box. Now there's one, hopefully you can see that, and it's got 2 extras on the side already, so that's another 3 bulbs to replace the one, so that's good. So if they over summer all right, that'd be fine. And this takes a little bit of time because obviously they were tightly packed together. It's got a lot of root on there. It's got another little one coming on the side there. When you go to replant them, it's quite easy just to see how different they all look. So you can separate them out if you want to. Now this one is quite green. So what I'm going to do is just cut the tops off there. Trim the roots. What I should do is just check them after about a month or so, just to make sure that nothing has started to rot down or anything. And they're all fine at the moment. Right, that's more or less covered the bottom loosely of that box. So what I'm going to do now, I've got some just roughly torn up newspaper, and I'm just going to scatter that over the top, and then I can put another layer on the top of there. That way they're not all touching each other. Because this has been drying out in the shed, the compost is quite dry, so it does shake off quite well. I just don't want to store these with any moisture more than they need to be. Oh, there's loads of roots in there. There's another one there with a little shoot at the side. That's got another layer in the box, so I'm just going to put another layer of newspaper just to protect those ones at the bottom, because newspaper is nice and soft and it absorbs any moisture. So you can use vermiculite or anything else absorbent, but I find newspaper is just an ideal thing to use. And so I've just roughly torn it up. You can shred it and do it all posh, but I haven't done that. So these last ones can just go on the top there. Right, I think that's got most of them. If there's any I've missed when I tip this all out, then I can just add them to the box. Some of these little crocuses just left in there, but like I say, when I empty this all out, I'll find any remaining ones. These little crocuses are very tiny, aren't they? So you can easily miss those, but we'll go through the box. So what I'm going to do now is just cover these up. I'll throw them on there. With the remaining newspaper, I'm just going to blow everywhere. And that box can just stand in the shed. And then they'll be ready for planting in the autumn. So there we are, all tucked away nicely. And so when I sort that out, if there's any more, I can just add them to it, and then this will just stand in the shed. So there we are, that's all for now. And I'll say bye. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.